Literally just a quickie video today, because literally as I'm doing this, the news that Andrea Leadsom has just quit her position over the Theresa May's new Brexit proposal, which is basically her original Brexit deal, promising the same thing, but with new titles. But I'm sure we'll get into that, I think, at another time. But the real question is now is how much longer can she actually survive? I mean, I'm doing this obviously tomorrow morning. The European elections are going to be, and the Conservatives are in for an absolute tallywhacking, I suppose would be the best way to put it. Yeah, but they are in for an absolute paddling. All the polls say it, and I think there's more and more pressure, and I think her days are numbered. I know on Paddy Power there are bets of when is Theresa May going to leave, all this going on, but it's still the same thing of she's trying to push her deal through, which I think happens, I think she said in another 2 weeks. By the looks of it already, it's not going to get through. So that's another deal, a fourth time that she tries, the government tries to put through a major, policy statement issue, through the Parliament, can't get it through. Here we are, and it doesn't matter that they've tagged on the, we'll have a confirmatory vote. It's not going to get through. And it's sort of kind of funny, partly because, as we've said from the very beginning, if you gave this deal to, if David Cameron came out with this deal on the morning of the Brexit vote and said, this is what we are going to do, everyone would say yes to it. There'd be no derision, no anything like that. And as we've been covering, pretty much since Chequers, this has been a push by the far-right people in the Conservative Party, because they hate regulations, they hate the rules. And it's funny that in the new withdrawal agreement there is a provision to basically have a charter for equal representation for environmental issues in this country. How that will be achieved, we don't know. But again, that to me is very, it's like someone coming up last minute and saying you need to do some homework and basically writing one sentence and saying there, it's done. But you're like, you haven't fully answered the question, But there you go, that's the state of UK politics. And as I keep on reminding people, if Brexit doesn't happen, then we will stay on a very good course. People will complain, but in general, no one will mind. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Brexit was always pushed by a lot of extremists who have promised the earth and not been able to deliver on their promises. And now they're trying everything they can to try and blame their failings on other people, on people like Theresa May. And that's where we are. And I think if Brexit does get cancelled, no one will care. It won't cause a major issue. Nigel Farage will probably stay around with his Brexit party, but like UKIP, it'll be a fringe movement. And if the Tory party collapses, then it's very likely that a new party will rise to take its place, but it won't be Farage's single-issue party. And if you think that people are going to vote for Farage, you've only got to look at past UKIP manifestos and see that Farage's manifestos were often basically cut and copy pastes of the Conservative manifesto with even more far-right leanings. And as I've said to people before, if you really want to keep the NHS, you can't have Brexit. Because that's the way it's looking at this country. And we are a middling economy. that is being drastically overestimated by a lot of people. And you know, this idea of, oh, if you believe, well, you can't have solely belief. You've actually got to have policies to make that happen. And as well, the Brexit Party has no policies. A lot of the Brexiteers themselves sort of have statements but not policies. For example, us going up to the WCO, well, not WCO, the World Trade Organization, the WTO rules, is a statement. It's not a policy, because they don't like to discuss the ramifications of that policy or explain why it will be good. They just go, oh, it'll be good for trade. And then they don't go any further than that. But there we are. So my last message for this video is go out and vote tomorrow. If you're in the Yorkshire and Humber region like me, go and vote for the Greens. If you don't know who to vote for, go and vote tactical. I think it's tacticalvotes.com or remainvotes.com. I will tell you basically who to vote for. Like I say, the results tomorrow, or I think Friday. I think is it Friday we get them? I think it will be Friday. Before we know the full state of the rest of Europe, but I think it will be Friday morning probably when we know for certain. You know, fingers crossed. I'll probably try and do a video. It might be later than my normal one, just so that we can try and get the full scope and picture in. But there you go. This is coming down to a pretty much referendum. You know, we put referendum in quotes. It's referendum 1.1, or shall we say, because this is what it's being treated as, and you are going to get, you know, there were a lot of people who voted to Brexit who were promised that they would stay in the customs union and the single market, and that is not what they are being sold now. So don't get, you know, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but we'll see.